lovely YouTubers. It's me, Morgan Tracy J, coming today with the Women's Wednesday chat. You know, every Wednesday, guys, I just come, I uplift, I empower you, and just give you some inspiration for the middle of your week. Today's video is all about new chapters. The truth is, a lot of us aren't willing to embrace new chapters, but it's usually tied to our beliefs. Our beliefs keep us back from stepping into the new chapters. So I want to give you some tips and advice today on how to embrace the new chapter that God is going to lead you into. And most of us have already stepped into a new chapter. We've made some big decisions. We stepped into change. We've transferred schools. We went to a new location. We've done something different, and right now it's causing change in our life. But most of all, it's time for a new chapter. So what I want to tell you is, a lot of times the thing that holds us back is our mindset. It's what we think we are not that keeps us from growing into the person God is calling us to be. There were seasons in my life where I would say, no, Morgan, you're not a woman of God. No, Morgan, you're not qualified. No, Morgan, you can't speak yet. No, Morgan, you don't have a degree yet. No, Morgan, no, Morgan. I would say all these things to myself about how I was not qualified for the position. But the truth was, I was keeping myself back. The way we hold ourselves back is because we tell ourselves what we are not. We're not skinny enough. We're not pretty enough. We're not qualified. We're not talented enough. All of these things we say that we're not, so that tells us that we're not ready. There were times where I said, I'm not ready for a relationship or marriage because I'm not here yet. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not thin enough. I don't have enough love to give yet. Like, there are all these things I tell myself I wasn't not enough of. And so today I want to tell you, we are like an apple seed. We are a seed that has so much in it, like a tree, a harvest, fruit, everything. But if we're not willing to embrace what's inside of us, it will never come out. If we're not willing to get into the right soil, into the right place, into the right position with God, it will never come out. And so I want to tell you today is, quit thinking that you're not enough of it. Quit thinking that that woman God is showing you can never be. Quit thinking and losing hope that that vision will not come to pass. Daughter, you are qualified because God has qualified you and called you and chosen you and set you apart. And so I want to tell you today that the thing about it is, we have to quit telling ourselves what we are not and start telling ourselves what God is saying about us. If God has called you a daughter, if God has called you to step out, if God has called you a minister, if God has called you to do all these different things, if God has called you to create that thing, if God has called you to write that book, I want to tell you that yes, you are an author. Although it may not be there yet, you are that. You are a philanthropist. You are these things. You are a server. But the truth is, you got to quit telling yourself what you're not, because your natural sight will fail you today. Your natural sight will tell you what you're not, but I want to tell you, God is telling you what is to come. God is like telling you what is like deep inside of you, like that apple seed. There's apples, there's trees, there's a harvest. There's trees, there's good fruit, there's a harvest inside of you, that if you get into the right soil, you will blossom. And I want to tell you that today, daughters, that I love you, and I want you to understand that it's what you keep telling yourself that you're not enough of is what's keeping you from being the woman God is calling you to be. You say, oh, I haven't forgiven enough yet. I haven't walked in love enough yet. I haven't given this away yet. Quit telling yourself that and start walking with the Lord. You are enough today to have everything God has for you. And in time, you will get better and better the more you walk with Him. The more easier it will be to release things. The more easier it will be to understand God and get intimate with God. It will get better, promise me. But you have to understand that if you keep telling yourself you're not disciplined, or you never get anything from God, or God forgets about you, or you're last on God's list, then that's all you're ever going to see. But when you start to say, no, I'm God's daughter. I have an inheritance. I'm strong. I am prosperous. Even though today I may not feel good about myself, but I know God calls me worthy. When you begin to speak these things, guess what happens? You begin to walk differently, daughters of God. So I want to tell you today, quit telling yourself what you're not and start telling yourself what God says you are. Because today you can decide that in your new chapter, that you're going to put away the same story you've been telling yourself for months and years and weeks and all that. But what you can start telling yourself today is the story that God has for you. If you don't know the story yet, I highly suggest you begin to read about what God says you are. I highly suggest you begin to sign up for devotionals and learn about who God says you are. I highly suggest you get into prayer so you can understand who God says you are, and you can learn about your inheritance, and you can learn about His love. Because the truth is, it's what we think we're not that holds us back. If we don't think we're a good prayer, then we're not going to pray. If we don't think we can read the Word and understand, then we're not going to read the Word and understand. If we don't think that we're talented enough for the position, guess what? We're not going to go after that position. If we think that we can never get there, then guess what? We're never going to work towards it. So I want to tell you today, God is saying, it's what you think you're not that is holding you back. There is a harvest living inside of you. There are so many things deep down inside of you that God says He can bring out. But you have to be willing to get past the negative views, the negative thoughts, and the negative ideas of yourself. I love you ladies so much. I pray you got uplifted and blessed by this video. Be sure you like, you subscribe, but also you share with one of your girlfriends out there and allow her to get uplifted and inspired also. Love you guys. See you in my next video.